And with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we just have a very, we really, no community members as audience today, but if you happen to be watching, if you want to follow along, you can pull the packet up on online. Our video equipment seems to have a little snafu, and so we're not able to project that on the screens at this time. So first of all, we have approval of the agenda. Do I have an amendment to the agenda? I know that was discussed earlier.
Yeah, if we could pull number 5 from the consent agenda to the regular.
Is there a second to pulling number 5 from the consent agenda into the regular agenda? I'll second it. So pulling approved Lions Park Playground cost adjustment into the regular agenda, we'll put that as item number 2 and move fourth quarter goals update to 3. Given that amendment, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended with number 5 consent agenda being pulled into the regular agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's approved. We do not have any public comments or inquiries this evening. We had the minutes in our packet from the council meeting on the 6th of January. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the minutes from the city council meeting on January 6, 2026. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those are approved. In our consent agenda this evening, we have approved payments and disbursements, accept improvements and approve security reduction for Amira Lake Elmo, accept improvements and approve security reduction for Northstar 2nd Edition, approve release of warranty security for launch Crossroads, approve rescheduling of February 3rd, 2026 council meeting, and approve Public Works Director hiring. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll jump into our regular agenda this evening is approved plans and specs and authorized advertisement for CSAW 14 water main improvements. City Engineer Nate Stanley presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as noted, our tech is failing us a little bit. So if you just want to kind of follow along in your packets, I'll get going here in 1 second. Okay. So yes, thank you. The item before us is to approve plans and specifications and authorize advertisement for bid for the CSAW 14 water main improvements. This stretch of water main or stretch of road in question is between Lake Elmo Avenue and Layton Avenue. So I'm going to recap a few things that I've discussed before you previously. Talk about the proposed improvements, where we're at with an estimated cost right now, and then talk about schedule and next steps. So just to recap, this is one of the early pieces of water main that was put in town back in the 1960s. It's a 6-inch water main. It extends kind of along the southern boulevard of CSAW 14 between Lake Elmo Avenue and Layton Avenue. The pipe has a pretty significant history of breaks, with 7 breaks in the last 6 years, and actually 5 of those have been over the past 3. So it's rapidly deteriorating as it sits in the ground. This line, again, was not included in the scope of the Old Village improvements that was completed a few years ago now. The idea was that we've wanted to sync it up with the Washington County project. However, this stretch of road is not yet in Washington County CIP, and with the condition of the pipe, we just can't wait anymore. So we have worked with the county on a conceptual basis to make sure to kind of situate this in a spot where both we and the county staff believe it will not be impacted by a future county road project and will still be suitable for service and maintenance. And then to recap, the plan and spec authorization came this past October. So I have a figure up that I'm looking at right now, and I guess describing the project limits, and I guess like the keys to this figure are the excavation pit locations. And we're proposing to install this line trenchlessly to save on any sort of restoration costs, but also to try and keep traffic operations moving as normally as they can. That said, there will be some interruptions to traffic and traffic control. So the scope of improvements includes replacement of approximately 1,700 feet of water main, upsizing the main to a 12-inch line, which will match what we're tying into on the, let's call it the east and west ends. The main will be, again, installed underneath the eastbound lane of Stillwater Boulevard, CASA 14, with approximately 8.5 feet of cover, which is just a little bit more than we usually do, again, to try and avoid any sort of future conflicts with the county project. This construction will require eastbound traffic on Stillwater Boulevard to be rerouted during the construction project. So, but service will be maintained throughout the project with temporary lines as necessary for both residential and business operations. And then the service lines to future development areas at Lake Elmo Elementary and Fury Motors will be upsized to accommodate anticipated future needs. So the proposed cost, this was originally estimated at a capital improvement plan level of about $850,000. Right now, our estimate's $940,000. And I guess to provide a little insight, first and foremost, I just want to stress that this is just our estimate right now. Actual construction costs will govern that we get from bids when they're received. But there's a lot more nuanced project than it might seem. With the levels of traffic on CASA 14 and just like the kind of area that it fronts. So unfortunately, the CIP estimate kind of fell short as a placeholder. We're hoping that this the final estimate comes, or the final number comes down once we do get bids. And then to talk project schedule today on January 20th, I'm asking for approval of the plans and authorization to bid. Looking at a bid date of the 19th of February, if we go today. And then looking at a contract award date of March 3rd, which will allow us a lot of runway this spring to have a contractor on board and have everything ordered. And again, hopefully, doing going through the project development right now, bidding in the winter when contractors are really actively looking for work, we'll hopefully see that pricing go down, being early to the game here. So that said, I'm asking council to approve a resolution approving the plans and specifications and authorizing the advertising for bids for the CASA 14 water main improvements. Thank you.
Questions for Nate? Councilmember Holtz?
Thank you for that. I am not an engineer, so when it's going from, it's very much a good thing for everyone's public safety. To go from the 6-inch to 12-inch, is 12-inch pretty much where the city will probably need for the next 30, 40 years for size? At what point is there a size that's even larger?
Yep. So, thank you, Councilman Holtz. The 12-inch line will complete a loop. So right now, I'll get to the second part of the question here in a second, but right now we've got a 12-inch to a 6-inch to a 12-inch. That's the situation. So we're completing a 12-inch segment right now. So we've got, where the main's been rehabilitated, we've been kind of working towards the middle here. The 12-inch line will be able to sustain service needs moving forward for the next, several decades. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Councilmember Hearn.
Just for a little clarity for costs on this, when there is a leak like this, I mean, what is kind of the economical, the financial cost of that, and obviously like the lack of service kind of cost? So you could just speak to that a little bit. Each time we have a leak, how much are we looking at financially as a city to have to cover those?
It's hard to gauge that, I'll call it like a loss cost, depending on where it happens and who's put out. But what I can speak to is that every time we need to have the repair completed, these are always on an emergency basis. It's not like, well, we'll just leave the line go in the middle of this county road and, that water bubble up. It's anywhere between, $20,000 and $40,000 to patch a leak like that in an emergency situation, probably erring towards the higher end these days. So again, thinking back on, 5 breaks in the last 3 years, we've sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into fixing leaks that we'd like to just, put in a new line and not have to worry about it for the next 50+ years.
Okay. And I think I saw one, I think that maybe happened in Stillwater this morning when I was driving by. I think they had one. It's not like a seasonality type thing, right? I mean, these leaks can occur at any part of the year. This isn't a problem only in the summer or a problem only in the winter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Typically, you do see them a little more in the winter. I would say the age of this pipe is such that, it's bound to happen anytime. It's a potential breaking come anytime when you got a 60-year-old cast iron pipe in the ground with questionable soils around it. But typically, you start to see more movement during warming and cooling cycles, like early winter, late winter.
Okay. Okay. And I guess my reason for that is just trying to think like timing wise, do we want to speed this up? Do we want to wait? I guess that was kind of my thought on it. Thank you.
Just curious, Nate, we know that CASA 3017 and Trunk Highway 36 is going to be going on, and when we've experienced Manning Avenue project or something on 36, it really, and on 94, traffic on 14 really sees quite an uptick.
Sure.
And I'm just wondering if you have, or if the city has, taken steps to coordinate with the county between the projects, given that there's likely to be, I see substantial completion in August, and I want to say that project's starting in June. So there's going to be some overlap there.
Yep. There will, Mr. Mayor, there will be some overlap. We are actively working with the county and state staff on any sort of traffic impacts from the 36 CASA 17 project. Now, what I will say is those great big projects, as you're aware, sometimes they take a little while to get going. You know what I mean? So we're kind of hoping that we can get in and get our project done before any sort of substantial closure start diverting, greater levels of traffic towards us. And it's a little hard right now for them to be able to give us anything concrete. There are staging plans, but as far as dates associated with those plans, they really need to wait to get a contractor on board.
What is the material we'll be installing?
It would be an HDPE.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It'd be a similar product to what was used for the force main replacement this year up on Inwood.
Okay. And so, as you mentioned, I think I recall you said parts of eastbound 14 will need to be closed down when the pits go in. Size of the pits are roughly what, 8 by 8?
No, they're bigger than that. It's not gonna get as far into the other traffic lane, but you can bank on, like a 20 by 15.
Okay. And it's 8.5 feet deep.
It'll be a little bit, let's call it 10 feet.
10
Because you need
feet.
room to maneuver.
Right. Okay. Just out of curiosity, was there any, I don't even know if that's common practice to do a pipe bursting or anything like that?
So there's twofold here. Going from you can with pipe bursting in a situation like this, you can typically upsize one pipe size, so like a
Okay.
6 to an 8, 8 to a 10, without too much trouble. A 6 to a 12 would be, I don't even know if that's feasible.
Got it?
And then we also, like I say, we're actually kind of relocating this a little further out into the road to avoid any sort of, try to mitigate for future impacts, yeah.
Okay. And do we know we'll be deep, I'm assuming everybody's taking a look, that will be deep enough to avoid any other utilities that may be in that roadway section?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Stanley?
Yeah,
Councilman
so
Cragnis.
back to the question that Councilman Hearn had about the repairs. Have the 12-inch pipes needed any repairs, or is it just the 6-inch section that's needed the most repairs?
Yes, Councilmember Cragnis, it's just this 6-inch section we're talking about. These 12-inch legs that it's tying into are much newer and better condition.
Haven't had any, excuse me, haven't had any leaks or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No problems, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 2026-008, approving the plans and specs and ordering the advertisement for bids for the CASA 14 water main improvements from CASA 17 North Leg to Layton Avenue.
Support.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Improvements are approved. Thank you. We'll jump into the item that was pulled from consent agenda. It's approving Lions Park Playground cost adjustment. I guess I'll just try and give a little bit of background. This was something that the Parks Commission has put through, was in our CIP, went to Parks Commission. It was tabled initially, and at which point it came to the council a little bit later than as I understand it. I don't know if I got all my dates right, but there was a cost break if we would have done it earlier. And since we accepted it at the time that we did, that early discount was gone. And so basically, Mr. Swanepoel, who's not able to be here this evening, indicated that there's basically two options. I'm trying to get to the page now where additional costs because of that early purchase wasn't met would increase the cost by $7,295 over the approved amount. It indicates that the contractor's installation cost of the safety chips for the project is $12,000. Council decides not to increase the project funding. Staff could purchase the safety chips for approximately half of that cost, which Adam has included a couple of estimates for those chips in the packet, and then have the maintenance workers, or the public works employees spread the chips at less than, it still would cost us something, but just not the $12,000. So to that, I'll turn the floor over to Councilmember Hearn, who wished to bring this into the regular agenda.
Yes, I think I just will add to that, 'cause when speaking with Adam here about this, I just wanted to clarify a few things with him as far as, you know, the line in here that would keep the project within budget if it's purchased by the city and installed, confirm that. I followed up with, you know, well, the next follow-up question was, well, you know, how do we factor in the time that the Public Works employees are spending on this? And I agree with his take on this, but this may be more my opinion as well, that the Public Works, these employees are already hired. They're already here to do Public Works roles, and this is kind of serving that role. So, you know, I guess the way he saw it was that this wouldn't be taking away, well, then the follow-up was, would this be taking them away from other Public Works duties that would, you know, should take priority at this time that the project would be going on? And he said he has no concerns with that. The follow-up question after that was, okay, if we, you know, are you gonna be here tonight? He said, no, he's not gonna be able to be here tonight. He said, you know, if you guys, if you wanna table this, he's not gonna be able to be here at the first city council meeting in February, so, you know, this would get pushed back to that second city council meeting in February. So I said, you know, are we gonna get in a similar situation then where we have a price increase again as a result of this? And he said, nope, we've already have the contract with, what's the playground company again?
Landscape structures.
Landscape Structures. He wasn't concerned at all about the safety chips price going up. I asked about, I think that was the main piece. So Adam's direct, you know, when I talked to him on the phone, he said, you know, if you guys, obviously, if you want to make a decision on it, make a decision on it, but if you need me there to talk through this more, that you should probably table it, and that we could have it at that second meeting in February. I think I'll leave it at that, because probably anything else I say is probably more discussion.
Okay. Any more, well, I suppose we can't really ask questions. So I'm gonna make a motion just so that we can get into a discussion and see where, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I'm happy to make a motion, because
All right, you
if
make
I'm
a
the only
motion.
one that wants this, you know, I want to move forward with this. So, motion to approve the purchase and installation of the Lions Park Playground set not to exceed $327,000.
You probably wanna add something to that if I'm thinking correctly.
Support.
I,
Can I make an amendment, friendly amendment to your motion?
Sure.
Add to allow Public Works Department to purchase the safety chips and spread them with Public Works employees?
so,
Is that what
I mean,
we're
'cause if
pointing towards?
I am making the motion that's just presented on there, because if I'm the only person that does not want to go that direction, you know, then I'd like to see an amendment for keeping it at 317,000, not changing the budget, and does that make sense?
I lost my, you have to give me a second here.
So to confirm, Councilmember Hearn, your motion is to allow the increase.
If, I want to have the discussion.
All right.
Because if I'm the only person, I don't want to push this back a month.
Gotcha.
Okay,
So I'm fine with it, you know, if I'm the only person on that. I'd rather keep it rolling, but I just thought, you know, since it
All right.
was on the consent agenda, make that point that, you know, we could do this for cheaper.
is there?
Is it all right if I,
Yep.
because we do have a second.
Is there a second?
I had seconded already.
Yeah.
All right, so there's discussion. Go ahead.
Is all right, yeah, so, again, I mean, I guess probably kind of showed my hand there as is, but I think this is an opportunity to keep it within the budget that already has been raised from what we originally were planning on it. You know, I feel like I was pretty fair with asking questions to make sure that this wouldn't take resources away from other critical things that we need to be doing. I, you know, made sure that this isn't gonna cause price increases if we do make this change. You know, there was conversation brought up that Adam has a group that he's had helped with for other projects like similar to this for volunteer type work, so even like that type of stuff could be used for this. I think this is an opportunity to save $10,000 because we'd be jumping the price up from $317,000 to $327,000. So I think it's, because that's what the request was for $327,000 up to. So I think this is an opportunity to save the taxpayers $10,000, and it's a good use of public works time. So I don't think we should increase it.
I think I agree. I mean, I think if Public Works, if this isn't gonna affect any of their other projects going on right now, and it gives them a task or a project to accomplish for the amount of money we were gonna pay them anyways, then it makes sense to just buy the safety chips and have them do it. So I agree with that.
Any other discussion?
I think this is something they have to install in the spring or summer. They can't do it now.
No.
And that's a busier time of year. I'm kind of concerned that,
Wouldn't this be in like
So-
the April timeframe or May timeframe?
Can I speak on that? Because again, when talking the conversation with Adam, sorry, I should have mentioned that. I did ask, you know, when are we looking for doing this? And he said, since that delay did happen, we're on their schedule now, but it's for more mid to end summer is when they would expect to be working on this project.
Got it.
So he did say, he said, you know, if this was that transition from winter into spring, it'd be a little bit more of a concern. With it being in the summer, not as much of not a concern. Again, this is where it's like, if we want to table it and have him come back, you know, and you want to hear it out of his mouth versus me saying what I, you know, telephone tag here, I'm open to that. If I'm the only one, again, you know, or if we don't have enough agreement on that, I'm fine with moving forward, but
But Adam's not concerned about the people at this point,
no,
the resources, okay?
yeah.
I would suggest that we approve it to 327 because we're going to have a new Public Works Director before then who may have a different view of whether the staff time would be better spent somewhere else than spreading safety chips. We don't know that yet. But if we approve it at 327 and the staff isn't available, we can have it done. And if the staff has the time and resources to do it without affecting other operations they need to accomplish at that time, we don't know what might come up between now and then either. You know, that we have the best of both worlds. We don't have to come back to, well, we need another 10,000 because we've got this going on and we just can't free the staff's time. I mean, I'd like to say the 10,000 too, don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, the new Public Works Director may have a different view as to whether their time would be better spent doing something else, might save more money doing something else.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I didn't think about the new Public Works Director.
I guess personally, it's nice to save, I don't know that it's saving, well, it's 12,000 if you had them do it. And the quotes on the chips from the two that we got were, what, $2,000 and let's see here. We got one quote for, son of a gun, my computer is not liking me right now. One quote's for 2,000. So that would bring this, yeah, that's about a $10,000 savings. And the other quote is, what is going on? Is, $2,900. So assuming we went with the lesser, it's yeah, it would be $10,000 cash savings. The only thing to remember is that, like you indicated, we do have the employees, we do pay them to work on a general work week. I think the estimate time involved would be 4 full-time equivalents. Take them roughly 4 hours, they said, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna put that to probably 6 hours to do it, clean up, get it all done. So you're looking at 24 employee hours. If you take a loaded rate on that, even if you're really conservative, that's probably in the neighborhood of 100 and 125 bucks an hour. That would be low. So you're looking at another 2,400, so you're saving really probably about $5,000 at the end of the day, ballparkish. Or 7,500, excuse me. So I mean, I'm okay with saving that. I don't think it's a, half a day's work. You just gotta spread some things around, and maybe you get lucky and you have one of these volunteer groups that's come in and done wood chips at some of our other playgrounds. I think there's a couple church groups that have come in and done Carriage Station Park previously by my neighborhood, so I understand Councilmember Dragosic's position, but personally, I'd be okay cutting it and having our public works guys do it. And the new guy's gonna come in, and I'm sure I guess my best guess is if Adam says it's gonna be okay, that he's been around a few years, he knows what our program's like, and, if nothing else, Councilmember Holtz can go out there and help him rake it in.
I'm okay with our public works crew doing it too. I was just trying to, with the motion we have, provide flexibility either way. We wouldn't have to come back
Yeah,
and visit.
so
it.
is there a way to do that and say, can we do the full amount, but then contingent on the new public works director assessing the situation, with the preference being to purchase the chips and put them in?
I think that's really
ourselves?
fair.
Is
Yeah.
that?
I'd like to offer a friendly amendment.
Yeah,
that
can we
maybe
do that?
accomplish it. Amendment that would say, if the public works has the ability to solve the chips, that would be our preference, to save the money.
Yeah,
I think that's really fair, and I appreciate that. Again, that might be though where we wanna discuss that with Adam, because I don't know what that negotiation looks like with the wood chip company. I mean, does he have to secure that now if he wants those to be available for delivery? And so again, that's just, would be my one concern with that.
I think that these playground equipment suppliers that have these chips,
Readily available.
yeah,
Okay,
put them all over the metro area.
okay.
Is the amendment to have Public Works install, or to have Public Works install or supervise the install? Because again, if it's
No, they,
volunteer-led, technically they're not installing, it's
yeah,
volunteers.
either or. Either install or supervise the installation of, because in any event, even if there are volunteers that are willing to do that, Public Works will have to put the chips on site with their equipment, right? So are you accepting that friendly amendment?
What was it again? So just,
Go ahead.
The friendly amendment would be, it still is the 327, but the preference of the council is to save the wood chip money by having Public Works install or supervise the installation of the wood chips.
yeah, so we're still approving up to 327 if needed, if the
If
new
needed.
director says,
Yeah.
this isn't the priority.
But the
But
preference
we're
of the
letting them know our
council-
preference
Yep.
is to go that direction.
Correct.
Yeah, support.
All right. So I'm going to call the question on the motion as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you
Thank you,
for
guys.
the thoughtful discussion. Item number 3, formerly item number 2 on our regular agenda, is fourth quarter goals update.
Thank you.
Administrator Miller?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So included in the packet is the fourth quarter goals update, and it is just a continuous, we keep tracking our progress here. So new this quarter, I highlighted the new things in quarter 4 are in yellow. So seems like a while ago, but it wasn't really that long ago. We completed our Urban Land Institute, the technical assistance panel for the 180 acres. Staff is currently corresponding with ULI folks on the final report, and that will come back shortly to council. Bolton and Mink has been asked to provide a proposal with a cost estimate for a comprehensive plan. I know that community development staff is meeting with them next week to kind of go over the scope and to get more information, but ultimately that will come back to council for approval at a later date. The appraisal survey, phase 2 have all been completed for the old fire station and the old parks building. And community development staff is in correspondence with the folks that were selected to move on, and that should be coming back pretty soon as well, potentially to a closed session to talk about purchase price. And then, as we saw, that was made public, the Valley Community Center, they signed the purchase agreement for the old Lake Elmo Elementary School site here. And they have come in and have met with community development staff quite a few times to talk about their wishes for that land going forward. And then recently, our community development director walked our old city hall site with a broker to find out their opinion on how much it would cost to get that building ready to potentially lease to someone. So we'll have that come back for further discussion. That's not scheduled yet, but we'll likely come back with that as well as kind of more parking analysis to council. And then we had our finance director who presented at the financial planning workshop when she presented, and the council accepted scenario 2 for her to base her her budgeting on going forward. We adopted the CIP in December. And of course, I'm sure you're all aware, the new website did launch in August. And we had our communications plan came forward to a workshop. Now that is going to come back for council adoption, probably just on consent. We're waiting for the conversation to go forward through Planning Commission on the public hearing notices, the increasing the distance, as well as kind of coming back for further discussion about using social media for public hearing notices. So, but that will come back for final approval. And then our communications coordinator did work with our finance director on creating that budget info sheet. And since she created that, she's also created a franchise fee info sheet. And our plan is going forward, kind of major policy decisions, we'll be creating those info sheets so we can utilize that for our community and as well as staff. And then last, we did add a few more staff members to our group. So we have our admin assistant that supports public works and fire, as well as our 2 building inspectors. And that is what we have. And then we've been already starting to track our work that's been completed in quarter 1 of 26 already as well.
All right, any questions for Administrator Miller?
Are those budget info sheets, is that on the website?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
That's a great idea. I love that. I don't have any questions. I want to say thank you for your focus on this and your really great leadership of taking what I'm sure we provide as very muddy direction sometimes and bringing clarity to it. And this is great. It's really nice to see, and I really appreciate that that you're doing this and sticking with it and making sure that we're moving towards what we say we wanted to do.
Thank you. It's a time, I think, to celebrate and to show what staff is working on as well. So I do get input from all of them because sometimes I forget what we've all accomplished.
It's too much.
I think it's a testament to the city and you guys supporting that, being transparent on the happenings that are going on in Lake Elmo so that residents can see some of the things that are being accomplished. I don't know that we tout those things enough. There's a lot that happens without really it being a visual presence to a lot of the residents within Lake Elmo. So this gives them an opportunity to see, besides just the stuff they see on the surface happening, some of the works that are going on that they may not be aware of. So that's very much appreciated. All right. Council reports. Councilmember Dragisich.
Yeah, Councilor Hearn brought up an interesting point, which I thought would be some good information for the council to have. And that would be, it would be interesting to get a report on our unaccounted for water as a percent. You say your unaccounted for is just 12% of your pumpage or whatever it would be, and what that dollar value represents. So if we sold that water at our normal rate, what's the percentage and the lost revenue? Just a piece of information. I don't think it's bad. I couldn't find it anywhere on our website when I was looking. But typically you like to see somewhere 10% range, somewhere 7 to 10% is kind of acceptable. If it starts getting much over that, you want to, take a look at what's causing it and bring it down. I'm guessing ours is probably pretty good, but it would just be a good piece of information. And if it is above where we'd like to see it, then we got work with our engineer to address that piece and minimize our losses.
Is that something typically the Public Works would know based on water quantities and things like that? Is
Yeah, they
that-
take the pumpage and volume, and then they subtract the volume that was billed.
I believe our current utility billing software has that capability, or our new census meter program. I know that finance staff have talked about that, so that's probably pretty easily readily available information.
And if it's not readily available, then,
Right.
you need to
Yeah.
spend huge amounts of time. It's just an information question. We can get to it over the course of,
Yeah,
2026. It's just be a good piece to know and know if we should be doing anything to, make sure we don't have too much unaccounted for revenue.
yeah. I think we can get that pretty quick.
Thank you.
Councilmember Holtz.
I'll defer to you for the meeting with Representative Johnson. No other report for me.
Glad you brought it up. Yeah, so last
Week.
Friday, right? Administrator Miller, Councilmember Holtz, myself, met with Chief Kalis and City Engineer, Mr. Stanley, met with our Representative Wayne Johnson and discussed some of the priorities for legislative priorities for the city of Lake Elmo going into 2026, which he indicated was going to be primarily a bonding year. We did, as probably predicted, focus highly on the water impacts to the city of Lake Elmo, and we're advocating for getting some language changed and potentially look into just a small language change in one of the bills that was presented a couple years ago. What were the other items? Can't bring out the top.
Funding for 36.
Oh, yeah, and just make sure that if there is a funding gap for 1736 along with the county, that the state be able to cover that gap if there is anything on that project, so.
O&M for PFAS.
Then looking forward into, we do have some grant money where we're looking at the treatment. We're looking at trying to make sure, or maintain that the cities, much like Woodbury and Cottage Grove, ourselves that are putting in treatment facilities, are able to get operational and maintenance money that would otherwise be burdened by the residents of the city for that long-term need. So, thanks for the help on that. And that's all I've got. Councilmember Hearn.
No report.
No report?
Okay, staff reports. Not a lot of staff here tonight.
I know,
It's just
but-
you.
Yes, but I do want to give a big shout out to all staff, including our finance staff. We are on the second week of implementing our new financial software. So they have been training and doing real-time updates with the BSNA staff that have been on site. This is their third week. They were here, go live too. But they're working their butts off, but also to all staff who have taken training. We've been trained in entering invoices and our timesheets. Payroll in our new system was successfully completed today, so we should get paid. But staff have taken the time to attend the training and to be patient. Some things needed some work, fixing as we went along, but, and I'll channel my inner Clarissa. She always says thank you for purchasing this, but I can say that it's been really easy to use compared to our old financial software, at least for what I've been trained in so far. AP, timesheet management, I'm sure it will continue with budgeting. So it's got a lot of drop downs, search areas. We customize our own dashboards for what we want to keep track of. So far, so good.
Great.
That's really great news.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yep. Oh, one last thing I just want to confirm, with the changing of the meeting to February 4th, I know Councilmember Hearn, Mayor Cadenhead will not be in attendance, so I just want to make sure the three of you will be here.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Do need a quorum or can't conduct business.
You can have a remote attendance.
Hey, you can't
could.
you can't predict when the kids get
If
sick.
anybody would like to join that way.
I don't know that.
I could probably remote in if needed. Mr. Stanley?
No report.
No
Sarah?
report.
No report? All right, with that, we will conclude this evening meeting. I will adjourn it at 7:50.
We're gonna do the fourth quarter benchmark. Maybe that wasn't.